Let's just take you back to that breaking news from Christchurch, New Zealand. We've just seen these pictures coming in from the local hospital there. Casualty being stretchered out of an ambulance into the hospital. We cannot confirm at the moment. We know simply that there have been reports of gunshots near a mosque in Christchurch. Police warning of a critical incident. They've issued a statement saying that armed officers have been deployed in central Christchurch on reports that several shots were fired. They've asked people in the centre of the city to stay indoors. All schools have been placed on lockdown. It's just after 3:15 in the afternoon there. Local media report shots fired near a mosque within the past couple of hours. There are reports from local media that several people were injured inside the building. As I say, police warning people to avoid the area. Armed police, we understand, clearing buildings in the vicinity. I think thousands of children too were at the time holding a rally for action on climate change in Cathedral Square. That has now been cleared, we understand. And there are reports again, which we can't confirm, of a second mosque being evacuated. This quote from the Police Commissioner Mike Bush saying a serious and evolving situation is occurring in Christchurch with an active shooter. Police are responding with its full capability to manage the situation. But as he puts it, the risk environment remains extremely high. As I say, all people are asked to stay indoors. Schools are locked down till further notice. I think we can now speak to our correspondent, Hal Griffith. Hal, what more do you have on this?
Well, as you said, it's a very fluid situation at the moment. A little bit of information coming in from everywhere. As you said, the statement from the police commissioner describing it as an active situation. So much of Christchurch in lockdown. That includes the hospital, includes schools, council buildings as well. We're expecting to hear from Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister, within the next hour. We understand that she's cancelled all her engagements, has gone into an emergency meeting with cabinet ministers, clearly trying to assess the scale of urgency and potentially the scale, tragically, of the casualties. Now, we understood there were some 300 people within that mosque when a gunman, some reports suggest a gunman wearing a helmet, came in and we understand started to open fire. There are no real solid numbers at the moment in terms of injuries or potential fatalities, but tragically, we know from past incidents that now is a realistic possibility. A huge emergency operation at the moment with police and with paramedics at the scene. We also understand there were some members of the Bangladeshi cricket team who were at the mosque for Friday prayers. There are some pictures we've seen of them walking away casually from the scene, but we simply do not know at the moment the scale of the shooting inside or how many people may have been hurt.
Yes, Hal, I think what alerted quite a few people, wasn't it, was that tweet from a reporter following the Bangladesh team, obviously currently in New Zealand, saying that the team had escaped from a mosque near Hagley Park where there were active shooters, in the plural. Any indication whether there are people still on the loose?
The police, as you said yourself, is an active scene, therefore suggests that at the time that statement was issued, the shooter or shooters hadn't been apprehended, and there are, again, unverified reports of a second mosque being involved. So potentially this could be an orchestrated effort by more than one person, but we simply do not have the clear information yet to put those pieces together. I think that's actually what the police will be doing now, is trying to piece together what they know about who is where, checking against records for individuals they may have thought could potentially be a risk of some terror threat. Now, this seems to have been an attack, orchestrated attack against Muslims within New Zealand, so they'll be looking to see for anyone, any records they have of someone who is known to hold extreme views against the Muslim population within Christchurch or further afield. But obviously their priority will be tracking down and locking down anyone who's deemed to be a threat.
Do you have any sense how well set up, how well prepared New Zealand is for an incident such as this?
Like many developed nations, New Zealand has an emergency plan. It goes straight away to gold command, and therefore people within the police and the emergency services will know the routine. happily, I suppose, it's not routine. They've had to put into practice too many times. This isn't a country which has seen maybe the same level of terrorist incidents as other developed countries, including here in Australia. However, they will have their orders to follow, and that will include feeding messages back to Wellington, to the Prime Minister and to Cabinet Ministers in order to potentially to make more overarching decisions. But at the moment, it seems to be a very active and dynamic scene on the ground in Christchurch.
Hal, thank you very much for that. Obviously, we will come back to that as soon as we have more reliable information. Thank you. Let's move on just for the moment to something very different. Obviously, we will go back to that breaking news as soon as we have more. We're moving on to one of a new generation of female jockeys. 23-year-old Bryony Frost has certainly made a mark in the sport. She has become the first woman to win a Grade 1 jumps race at the Cheltenham Festival. She described her win as a dream come true. Andy Swiss was there to watch history being made.
Well, what a memorable day we've had here at Cheltenham, and a little bit of history in one of the big races of the day, the Ryanair Chase, which was won by Bryony Frost on board her horse Frodon. Now, Frost in the process became the first female jockey to win a Grade 1 race over the jumps in the history of the festival. It was some ride by her, and she got a wonderful reception when she came back here afterwards.
Honestly, it was bonkers. I was like, oh my God, yeah. And then they said, well, that's the first time it's ever been done. And you think, well, hey, that's a cool thing, isn't it? And they say, like, fairy tales, they don't really come true, only on very rare occasions. Well, I guess I've flipped the coin and I've landed on a rare occasion today.
That was followed by, in the very next race, the Stayers Hurdle, another poignant victory, this time for the horse Paisley Park. Now, Paisley Park is owned by Andrew Gemmell, who has been blind since he was born. He follows the racing via the on-course commentary, via the radio, and he was able to share in all the celebrations. He later said it was like a dream come true. Still to come on the final day of the festival, of course, it's the Cheltenham Gold Cup, with Native River looking to defend the crown that he won here 12 months ago.
Andy Swiss with that report. Let's just take you back to that breaking news and those pictures we had coming in just now from Christchurch, New Zealand. I think we can show you again the scene outside the hospital. Plainly a casualty being stretchered into the hospital there from an ambulance. That news as we have it so far. There were reports of gunshots in or near a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand. Possibly two mosques. Police are warning of at least one critical incident. They have armed officers deployed in central Christchurch, just coming up to 3:30 in the afternoon there on Friday. They've asked people in the centre of the city to stay indoors. All schools in Christchurch have been placed into lockdown. Local media reported shots fired near a mosque within the past couple of hours. We can't time it any more accurately than that at the moment. We understand in the first mosque that we have information about, there were about 300 people. There are reports of a gunman wearing a helmet coming in there. There are other reports, a tweet from a reporter following the Bangladesh cricket team, which is in New Zealand at the moment, who were apparently in the mosque. Some reports from that tweet suggested active shooters in the plural. I cannot confirm that. We cannot confirm that. TVNZ is reporting from one eyewitness, multiple people shot. The Associated Press has a witness saying many dead in a mass shooting at a mosque in the New Zealand city of Christchurch. Again, we cannot confirm that. I'll present it to you for what it is worth. We know at the moment, as I say, that armed officers have been deployed in central Christchurch. We know there were reports of gunshots in or near at least one mosque. There is a possibility of another mosque under attack. What does seem clear is that there are still active shooters. There is still at least one active shooter. There may be more. There is a witness who's spoken to the broadcaster One News, speaking of seeing 3 people lying on the ground, bleeding outside the first mosque. Again, we cannot confirm that. We simply have TVNZ talking, one eyewitness to TVNZ talking of multiple people shot, and AP talking about several people shot. We will bring you more as soon as we can. I should stress that the latest report also suggests the entire Bangladesh team were safe after that shooting in Christchurch. We will bring you more on that as soon as we have it. There is more on all the news for you anytime on the BBC website. Thank you for watching.